So in this explainer, we're going to dig into an ancient text to tackle a question that feels incredibly modern. What does it actually mean to be a genuine, a real person? We're about to see how just one little shift in translation can totally flip our understanding of authenticity.
Okay, let's just start with this. You know the feeling, right? You meet someone and something just feels a little bit off, kind of inauthentic. You try to pin it down, but it's really, really hard to define.
Well, it turns out this is not a new problem. Not at all. More than 2,000 years ago, an early Buddhist text, the Cūḻapuṇṇamasutta, was looking at this exact same thing, but it framed it as this really fascinating puzzle.
So the text literally asks this question. Can someone who is, let's just say, a bad person, actually recognize those same qualities in somebody else? And the answer it gives is a flat no, which is kind of weird, isn't it? You'd think they would be the absolute best at spotting their own kind. So what on earth is going on here?
Well, to crack this puzzle, we can't just stick with the simple English words we're used to. We've got to go back to the original language, Pali, and use this special two-step method. First, we'll look at the standard dictionary translation, but then we'll go a layer deeper, looking at the root meanings of the words themselves. And that's where the real magic is hiding.
All right, let's start with the first character in this drama, the so-called bad person.
The Pali word is asappurisa. Now, your standard translation is bad person or unworthy person, but the linguistic breakdown tells a totally different story. That little prefix a just means not, and the root word sat means true or real. So a much more accurate translation isn't bad, it's untrue or unreal. You see? This isn't a moral judgment, it's about a state of being.
So the text gives us this handy checklist for the untrue person. And yeah, on the surface, this just looks like a list of bad traits. But let's use our deeper translation method on a couple of these and see what's really being said.
Let's start with the fun one, kusita. It's almost always translated as laziness or idleness. I mean, we all think we know what that means.
But when we look at the roots using this ancient practice of linguistic analysis called niruti, a whole new picture comes into view. Ku means bad, and sita means stuck or clinging. So the point isn't about someone choosing not to get off the couch.
Think of it like this. It's not about just a lack of effort. It's the condition of being hopelessly stuck, like you're trapped in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. It's describing a state of helplessness, which is way more profound than just being lazy.
Okay, what about these two, ahiriko and anoratapi? The standard translations are shameless and having no conscience, or no fear of doing wrong. Again, it sounds like someone who is just defiantly choosing to be bad.
But to really get what's missing, let's look at the positive versions first. Hiri is like an internal, automatic recoil from doing something wrong, that gut feeling, that sense of shame. Autopa is more about the outside world, a smart fear of the consequences, like you don't touch fire because you know you'll get burned. Together, they're basically our moral compass.
So the untrue person, the asappurisa, isn't someone who just ignores their conscience. It's someone whose moral compass is fundamentally broken. The needle doesn't even quiver. There is no inner cringe, no fear of what happens next, because the entire mechanism just doesn't work.
So let's flip the coin and see what the opposite looks like. Now we get to meet the hero of our story, the person we're meant to aspire to be.
The Pali word is sappurisa. Standard translation, a good person. But you know the drill by now. Let's look closer. Sat means true or real. Purisa means person or human. So we are not just talking about being good, we are talking about being a true human. Someone who is fully, authentically, and genuinely themselves.
Now, one of the key qualities of this true human is aradavdhaviryo. And yeah, it's usually translated as being energetic or resolute, which sounds fine, but maybe a little boring.
But the root meaning here is absolutely electric. It's got this feeling of being aroused or stirred up. This isn't just steady, boring energy. It's the energy of someone who has been woken up, who has been shaken into action. Like a hero starting a quest. It's powerful, it's dynamic, it's inspiring. So when we put it all together, the true human is the perfect mirror opposite of the untrue person. They've got faith, a moral compass that works, they're learned, they're this roused hero, they're mindful, and they're wise. In one word, they're authentic.
Okay, this is all great as an inner description, but how does this state of being true or untrue actually show up in the real world? Well, the text gives us a perfect everyday example.
Just look at the simple act of giving something to another person. The untrue person gives disrespectfully, like they're just tossing something in the trash. The whole point is just to get rid of it, because the act means nothing to them. But the true human, they give respectfully, with their own hand. Their intention is to genuinely offer something, because they believe in the power and the meaning of that connection. The exact same action can reveal two totally different inner worlds.
And this brings us right back to where we started, to that really strange question about whether a bad person can recognize another one. And now, I think we have the answer.
So here it is. The untrue person isn't just making a bad guess. They are fundamentally blind. Because they are inwardly stuck, and because their moral compass is busted, their entire perception of reality is warped. They can't see the truth in themselves, so how could they possibly see it, or the lack of it, in anyone else?
And that is the text's final conclusion. The true human, the authentic person, has clarity. That inner alignment lets them see the world as it really is. They can recognize authenticity in others, and they can also spot the lack of it, that unrealness in people who are lost. To be true is to see truly.
You know, this ancient text isn't just some dusty old philosophical puzzle. It's a guide. It's asking us to think about our own authenticity. So I'll leave you with this. Thinking about the way you give, or speak, or even think, what's one small action you can take today to be just a little bit more like that roused hero, a little more of a true human,